Hey everybody, and welcome to It's Just Racing, hosted by Jim and Jim. I'm Jim,
And I'm Jim.
and we're here to talk about racing. We're going to start off over in Foxborough, Massachusetts, where Supercross ran. It rained a lot. First mud race of the year. Always a blast. I enjoy the mud.
I always love a good mud race.
It definitely favors the tall people, and he's much taller than me, but we both enjoy the mud races. Was the 250 West, obviously, because they were in Massachusetts. 250 Heat 1. Max Voland was the only one who could ride. The conditions were horrendous. It was hilarious. We would be here for 3 hours if I documented everything that happened in every race. So this is probably going to go pretty quick. Max Voland won by 32 seconds.
In the heat race, too.
In the heat race. 250 West heat race number 2. Tom Vial won. There was one other guy who could actually somewhat ride. Seth Hamaker finished second, 6 seconds behind. In the 450s, first heat race, Chase Sexton won by 21 seconds, but was penalized 2 positions for jumping during red flag conditions, or the red cross flag condition. So Cooper Webb was given the race win.
Now, I know they showed us the replay of Sexton jumping on the Red Cross flag, and it was one of those close ones.
It was ridiculous. It was. The light went on as he was about 2.5 feet from the top of the jump. There's no possible way that he could have not jumped, and if he would have not jumped, there was a downed rider at the bottom of the jump. So if he would have rolled it, he would have driven right into the guy who was laying down there. So even if the Red Cross lights were on earlier, the safest thing that he did was jump. So I think they've really got to look at those things instead of just having an automatic penalty.
Now, I think that, if it was a dry track, normal conditions, he might have had time. I mean, he was just coming up the face of the jump. It would have been close under dry conditions. I would agree with you there. Under wet conditions, I think there needs to be a little more leniency in the rules. Because it would have been unsafe for him to deviate from the action. And I doubt he even saw the lights, because with the conditions, he was probably just focused on not crashing.
Like everybody else did. So, Heat 2 of the 450s, Shane McElrath. Not a name we say much, but he's a mudder. Won by 21 seconds.
These mud races, that's what they're good for. You get to see guys up there who aren't at the top very often.
We get to say names that we don't get to say the rest of the year, so it's kind of fun. In the 250 last chance qualifier, Crockett Myers won. Never said that name before. A notable did not qualify was Austin Faulkner. He's been having a rough year. When he burst onto the scene 6-7 years ago, he was really good, and he never finished a season. Kept getting injured, and now he's just slow, and he did not qualify for the main event.
Well, at some point, those injuries have to catch up with you.
Trust me, I know. The 450 last chance qualifier, Jeremy Hand won. A notable DNQ was Joey Savacci, my buddy number 17.
Well, and he was coming back from punctured lungs and some bruised ribs or broken ribs.
Yep, broken ribs and punctured lung, just like Jordan Smith had.
Well, this has got to be a tough race to come back from any sort of injury from.
Definitely, I agree with that. So there was a delay as they reworked the track. They also shortened up the main event times. Otherwise, people would have been there all night in the rain. It never stopped raining. It was a crazy night. In the 250 main, there's a huge pile up in turn 1 right out the start. RJ Hampshire had a great start. He was flying into the turn, and that bike just started skipping across the water like he was hydroplaning his Porsche down the freeway. So he went out, took out 5, 6 guys, including Seth Hamaker, who finished second in the heat race. So there's a pile of muddy bikes there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were watching Supercross or bowling for a second.
It was interesting, but he was definitely moving. But since he crashed before the hole shot line, Dayton Briggs, another name I haven't said, got the hole shot. And then he got stuck in the mud like pretty much everybody did 3 or 4 times throughout every race. It was, if you have a chance, if you've got Peacock or if you can go on to YouTube, just watch some of any of the races. It's fun to watch these guys wrestle these bikes through the mud.
I mean, there were a couple times they'd get it stuck, coming up a jump, and then that bike, you just couldn't move it.
You just fall over because they were going too slow. At the end of every race, they had to bring out front-end loaders to dig the bikes that had been abandoned out of the track. It's hilarious. You have to go watch it. Where was I? Dayton Briggs had the whole shot, and then he got stuck in the mud. That's what I said. Chance Hymas then inherited the lead and won the race by 25 seconds. He had lapped up to 6th place. So the interesting point, there have been 6 250 West Coast Division races and 6 different winners. So it's pretty nice to see. I always say I like parity, and that is the definition of parity when you have 6 races and 6 different winners.
Well, and I believe that's the first win for Chance Hymas, so congratulations to him.
Way to go, Chance Hymas. I think I might have said his name one other time. So the podium was Chance Hymas in first, Cullen Park in second, and Gage Linville in third.
So first-time podium finishers as well.
The 250 points. Seth Hamaker and Tom Viel are tied for first, followed by R.J. Hampshire, Chance Hymas, and Nate Thrasher. All 5 are within 10 points of each other.
Now, at one point, I thought that this was going to put away the championship for Tom Viel, because he's got a lot of experience in the wet conditions coming over from France.
And that one guy got hurt.
Oh,
Who was in second? I can't remember.
I mean, they've had a few injuries. Max Anstey.
Max Anstey, that's who I
Kitchen,
was thinking about. Yes, Max was in second, and then he got hurt, and then I pretty much called it for Tom Viel's championship, but this is the points race to watch.
But he got his bike stuck underneath the tower next to the finish line jump, and he couldn't get it out of there and ended up finishing last. I don't even think he crossed the finish line.
And that is what mud races do. The great equalizer. Moving on to the 450 main. It was fun, just because of who won. We like the guy who won. Justin Cooper got the whole shot. Aaron Plessinger took the lead about 2 laps in and never looked back. Cowboy won by 22 seconds. Did his face down mud angel. His hair looked like dreadlocks at the end because it was just so full of mud and matted up. But I love that guy. He's a blast. And good to see him win after a couple of podiums. That's 3 straight podiums for AP.
Now, as soon as I saw that track, I said, this is a cowboy track. Because you need a lot of energy to keep going. I mean, it takes a lot out of those guys. He was even a little more subdued than usual on the podium.
He was probably tired. He's a tall guy, though. So once again, those long legs.
Yeah, he was just walking through the mud.
They were walking these bikes. It was crazy. You have to watch it if you have any opportunity. So 450 points. Cooper Webb's in the lead. Chase Sexton is 15 points back. Ken Roxon is 36 back, and everybody else is at least 2 full races behind in points.
Now this one, I think Chase Sexton thought that he had a good chance to reel Cooper Webb in a little bit. But Webb, we don't even know what happened on the last lap.
It's like the last turn.
He passed 3 people on the last lap, and nobody knew it happened until he found himself on the podium.
The announcers didn't even know what happened. They're like, "Where's Cooper? Where's Cooper? Oh, wait, he finished third?" It was hilarious. So, anyhow, if you have 5 minutes of time, I would go look up some Supercross highlights from Foxborough, Massachusetts. Moving on to the Xfinity race at Darlington. Christopher Bell was on the pole. NASCAR threw one of their cautions that they shouldn't have thrown on lap 23. Chris Wright bounced off the wall, drove his car into the pits. He was last. There was nobody behind him. There were no issues, but they threw the caution, which did make it interesting. I'll give them that. A handful of guys pitted for tires, but most guys stayed out because it was only lap 23. Justin Allgaier took the lead on the restart. The 5 guys that stopped for tires, they just flew through the field. Harrison Burton ended up with the stage win. He took tires. Brennan Poole, Kyle Sieg, and Anthony Alfredo all finished in the top 5 due to that tire strategy. So it worked for them for getting points. Obviously, it's not going to get you a win, but it's going to get you stage points, and points are points. I'd rather have points matter than wins matter, but we discussed that last week. Stage 2, Brandon Jones won the race off of pit road. Justin Allgaier grabbed the lead right away and won that stage by 3 seconds. Stage 3, Allgaier started off in the lead, but Ross Chastain, Cup driver who didn't belong down in the Xfinity race, grabbed the lead a couple laps in. Only notable caution, just because it got everybody on new tires, was 36 laps to go. Taylor Gray tried to clear himself and was not clear. Came across Daniel Dye's nose, put himself into the wall. There are a couple single car cautions here and there, which made some different tire strategies play out. But 4 new tires usually wins, and it did on Saturday, so Brandon Jones got the win.
Moving on to Formula One. Formula One was in Suzuka, Japan for their 3rd race of the season. Starting off, it was a pretty boring race. Most of the drivers said so in their post-race interviews, and it was tough staying awake for that whole thing.
I even stayed up.
Leading up to the race, really, Friday, Saturday, before the race were more exciting than the actual racing itself. There were a lot of grass fires, a bunch of red flags in the practice sessions. Jack Doohan, he had a big crash. He hit the wall, what was it, 180 miles an hour?
Yeah, Jack thought he was playing video games, and he wasn't.
He had tried keeping the DRS open through a turn in the simulator, and that just doesn't work in real life. And he found that out pretty quick.
His team found that out too, because they pretty much built a new car around the engine, so they didn't have to replace the engine.
You got to give a shout out to that team for rebuilding that car in time for qualifying. They really did a great job.
I think they had it done for practice, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did.
He did run FP3.
Moving on to qualifying, I know you were very interested to see who would qualify better between Liam Lawson in the Visa Cash App Racing Bull and Yuki Tsunoda in the Red Bull. And Liam did out-qualify Yuki by 1 position.
Just barely. They were both slow. I can't claim a win there because they both weren't any good.
But hey, one place where you can claim a win, when they were talking about the underside of the car with the skid blocks and how they were causing the grass fires, I remember now. It sounded like you were talking, or you paid the announcers to talk about that.
Yeah, it's like who was Jacques Villeneuve was quoting everything I've ever said about skid blocks and how they're unnecessary and ridiculous. It did kind of sound like I was listening to a recording of a previous episode.
Moving on to the result of qualifying, Max Verstappen somehow put in a lap to put that Red Bull on pole position. I don't know how he does it. It was pretty special to watch.
He's a wheel man.
I mean, Fernando Alonso was kind of in shock. I believe he said it was a magical moment.
I mean, it was, listening to his in-car, I've never heard him that excited for a pole position before. He knows how hard the car is to drive. Everybody knows how hard the car is to drive, and to put together a lap like he did, I mean, he was screaming in the car. He was so excited.
Yeah, I think this is the happiest we've really seen Max, even with all his success. This one, he really earned it, and I think he enjoyed that a lot.
He did.
Moving on to the race Sunday morning. I not much really happened. The top six finished in the same spot where they started, which I saw today. That's only the fourth time that's happened in Formula One history. The other three were all street circuits.
Yeah, people always say that Monaco is the most boring race, but I have to say, Monaco has beautiful scenery that you can pay attention to. The old buildings and everything. So at least there's something to look at when the cars are in a parade. This was just a purpose-built racetrack where nobody passed anybody.
Yeah, I mean, in the most exciting moment, really the only exciting moment, was during the pit cycle. It was a one-stopper for everyone, and Max had a bad stop, and Lando was released possibly unsafely, but they let it go. Not sure why. Maybe because it was at the end of the pit lane, or nothing else was happening, so the stewards had fallen asleep too. But Lando decided he wanted to mow the lawn a little bit on the pit exit, and then he seemed upset at the time.
Which was an act, obviously.
Yeah, afterwards he was joking about it.
About the most expensive lawnmower he has.
But then Max went on to win. Lando finished second. Oscar Piastri rounded out the podium on his birthday. He was hoping for a win.
He probably could have won if McLaren would have allowed him to pass Lando.
He did look faster, but it was just impossible to pass. I don't think there were any passes after the first couple laps.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a tire issue. They should have brought some different tires so we could get 2 stops out, or something has to change for next year between that and the repaving of Sector 1, was it?
Yeah, I know George Russell, he mentioned that there just wasn't enough degradation to make it interesting. And then Nico Hulkenberg also said that the combination of that with all the high-speed corners that are there, that makes the dirty air effect that makes following another car, it makes it even more difficult. And so it was just impossible to get close enough to make a move. A couple notable performances, though, from rookies. Isaac Hadjar got his first points of his career, so
he
good
did.
job, Isaac.
It's funny, the only Red Bull driver that nobody talks about. He's doing good.
And Kimi Antonelli, during the pit cycle, he stayed out longer and he led a couple laps, which made him the youngest driver to lead a Formula One race.
I think there needs to be an asterisk there, just because it was during a pit cycle.
But he led the race.
He did lead the race, but he didn't pass anyone for the lead or anything along those lines. So
he doesn't get a bonus point for it.
No, true.
It's just a nice little spot for his name in the history books.
All right, moving on to the Cup race in Darlington. William Byron was on the pole. Oddly enough, Kyle Larson ran out of talent on lap 4. He was to the inside of somebody and just spun himself and pounded the inside wall nose first. There were a couple other single car cautions, nothing really of note. William Byron led every lap and won the stage. Byron also won the race off pit road, led every lap of stage 2, winning that stage also. There are a few light cautions, single car spins, things like that. The undercut was good for about 1.5 seconds per lap with fresh tires versus old tires during the green flag pit cycle. It was crazy. Funny enough, 4 laps to go in the race, Kyle Larson spun again. So 4 laps into the race and 4 laps left. He had a little help this time. Everybody's blaming Bubba Wallace. It wasn't Bubba Wallace's fault. I forgot who was ahead of Kyle Larson. They bounced off the wall. Larson checked up and Bubba was right behind him and tapped him. So it wasn't Bubba's fault. So Kyle Larson just had a bad day. So that brought out a caution. Green, white, checkered. Everybody on the lead lap stopped for new tires, so all strategies were out the window. Denny Hamlin's pit crew got the job done. They got him out there first, and he won his second race in a row. So the old man Denny Hamlin has turned it on the last couple weeks. Next week, got all 3 series racing at Dover. We've got IndyCar at the Long Beach Grand Prix.
Now you've also got IMSA will be racing on Saturday at the same Long Beach street circuit thing.
All right. Supercross is going to be in Philadelphia.
And Formula One will be in Bahrain.
As usual, if there's anything you want us to talk about, just drop us a comment, and thanks for listening.